I've been looking into this all day, and I'm left with two big questions. What happened to Shanquella Robinson, and what do her friends who went on this trip with her know about it?
It's like a nightmare, man. It's you know, I can't even sleep. I'm just frustrated. My heart is just aching, man. And, you know, as a father, man, you know, a praying man.
Bernard Robinson is begging for answers about how his daughter, Shanquella, died last month in Cabo.
I just want some truth, because this don't even add up right.
He says he and his wife were told Shanquella died of alcohol poisoning, but the autopsy says she died due to injuries to the spinal cord and neck. A video has now also surfaced showing someone attacking Shanquella.
Through the grace of God, I think I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, sir. God not gonna fail me. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out.
Information out of Cabo authorities has been difficult to obtain, so I called phone numbers associated with all of her friends who went on the trip.
The subscriber you have dialed is not in service.
Most of the numbers are now disconnected, but two of them went straight to voicemail.
Sorry, mailbox is full.
I texted both of them and also paid them a visit since they have Charlotte addresses. No one answered at the first store, and the same with the second. And while no one was home when I rang the doorbell this afternoon, a neighbor did tell me this morning they spotted CMPD outside this person's home. I sent an email to CMPD asking why they were there. CMPD says they are not involved in the investigation since the case happened in Mexico. I also sent an email to the Records Division asking for a police report, and I was told it will take 24 hours for it to be available. As Channel 9 continues to seek answers, so does Shanquella's dad.
I'm not giving up. I am not giving up. I'm very confident that I'm gonna have a peace of mind.
This is what we're looking for.
We gathered dozens of plastic bags.
You just got a new life, buddy.
To see what happens when they are recycled.
Okay, so that is activated.
To do that, we bought Apple AirTags.
Now we do this for the other ones.
Superglued them onto bags and, well, bagged them up. But while we can't be sure the trackers stayed with the bags, we secured them tightly.
See right here, they're all hanging out in the Channel 9 newsroom.
I'm not the only one. ABC News reporters in 10 states teamed up on this experiment, dropping bags off at Walmarts and Targets with bins labeled for plastic bag recycling. We dropped off bags at the Target in Midtown, the Target in University City, the Walmart in University,
Plastic bags, recycle the bags here,
and the Walmart in Steel Creek. ABC stations across the country launched 46 trackers. 23 of them last pinged at landfills or trash incinerators. 7 last stopped pinging at transfer stations that don't recycle or sort plastic bags. 6 last pinged at the store they were dropped off and haven't been heard from in months. For 3 of them, we can't definitively say where they ended up. And 3 trackers were shipped to the other side of the world, to Southeast Asia. Only 4 trackers ended up at facilities in the U.S. involved with recycling them. The tracker placed in our Midtown Target bags stopped pinging on February 16th. If they ever moved, the AirTag didn't pick it up. The Steel Creek Walmart bag tracker ended up at a Sam's Club distribution center. No recycling takes place here. It's unclear why they made a visit. Our last ping for the University Walmart bag tracker was at the Queen City transfer station. Also, not a recycling center. And the tracker for the University Target bags show they took the furthest trip, ending up in the Anson landfill in Polkton.
It takes 1,000 years for them to degrade.
If those Target bags did, in fact, end up at a landfill, they'll be around for a while, according to Amy Ossaker with Envision Charlotte. She says she is not surprised by our findings. Her nonprofit can turn some plastic takeout containers into filament for 3D printers. She says companies come to her all the time wanting to recycle plastic bags, but she has to turn them away.
Can't really recycle them.
You aren't supposed to put them in the curbside bin either, but that doesn't stop people. Mecklenburg County Solid Waste Services Director Jeff Smithberger showed us this mountain of recyclables.
This is what we face daily. I tell people that, they put their cans out at the curbside and they want it to go away. This is a way.
Every day it's sorted and shipped and is filled with things that shouldn't be in there, like Nerf guns, metal rods, and of course, plastic bags.
Unfortunately, there are just some things that are in the manufacturing system that don't lend well toward recycling. Plastic bags are one of those things.
This is why you don't put a plastic bag in your curbside bin in Mecklenburg County. The plastic bags get caught in the star screen. Look at all of those. Every single day, a worker has to tie themselves to this pole and use a knife to cut through these plastic bags so this machine can work again.
All of this equipment will be replaced over the coming months. Bags still won't be allowed, but the system won't be as fragile. Smithberger says one contaminated bag can cause a whole load to be rejected, so he's not surprised if our bags didn't make it to a recycling center. But he says bringing them into stores is still better than placing them in a bin.
Even if it doesn't always work out with recycling them at the retailer, that's still where they should go.
Absolutely. We do not want plastic bags here with the residential recycling.
Smithberger and Ossaker encourage people to reuse bags or use totes instead. They say just because you wish something can be recycled doesn't mean it can, or in our case, will be. Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
It's a heartbreaking update. I met this man's family members here at the scene earlier today. I've been in contact with his brothers, and my thoughts and prayers are just with the entire family of that commendable man. And we want to stress that Charlotte Fire and CMPD have not identified anyone officially, but we are expecting to hear from them at some point tonight in a news conference. And we heard that mother's emotion. We heard how this man had a Facebook Live where he was asking for help. What unfortunately that man may not have known at that time was the fact that his coworkers were trying to help. I am told that the coworkers in the crane actually spotted him and the other person that's unaccounted for, and they attempted to direct the crane's basket into position to help those two men off of the construction site and get them into safety. Unfortunately, though, the smoke and flames were too much and the rescue attempt was not successful. For hours, people watched in horror, praying everyone would get out safely. I spoke to one worker, Alexa Escobar. She told me the two people are hard workers with families.
I've seen them around. I'm a rigger here, so I communicate with them every once in a while. I don't know them personally, but they probably were good guys, like everybody else that comes here and just to get their money and, want to go back to their family. So I hope that they're okay and that they got them, and if not, then, I know we tried.
And it's such a heartbreaking update to this story. I know that several of the construction workers, including Alexa, were desperately trying to contact these two people, trying to see if they were able to make it out. It's clear that this was a tight-knit group, not just construction workers. They were a family.
12 stories high in the sky is where too many people have taken their last step.
They know that when they jump, that's it. It's no coming back from it. It's no waking up and saying, oh my God, I made a mistake. Once you go over that edge, that's it.
Fonda Bryant understands their pain.
I know how Twitch felt. I know how Chesley felt. I know how Kate Spade felt. I know how Anthony Bourdain felt. I know how they feel because we all feel in that moment the hopelessness, we feel worthless, and we feel like we're going to be in this pain for the rest of our lives. We know we're going to hurt family members. We know we're going to hurt friends, but that pain in that moment, it outweighs us jumping. It outweighs us shooting ourselves, hanging ourselves. It outweighs all of that. But the thing is, suicide is preventable, and if someone can come along and say, hey, let me help you get help, I'm here for you, it can make a big difference.
That difference maker in Fonda's life was Aunt Spanky. On Valentine's Day in 1995, Fonda called her to say she could have her shoes. Her aunt called back and asked if she was going to kill herself, and Fonda said yes. Her aunt went to a magistrate and had her niece involuntarily committed by a police officer.
When he put his hand on my shoulder, I scratched him. And when I scratched him, he grabbed me by the back of my neck, shook me extremely hard, and threw me in handcuffs like a criminal. I don't smoke, drink, or do drugs, but I was in crisis. And if that hadn't happened that day, and I know people who are watching this and say, man, that's a little extreme. But when somebody's suicidal, sometimes you have to be extreme. You got to do whatever it takes to save our lives.
As a now 28-year survivor, Fonda Bryant is on a mission to help people like how her aunt helped her. That's what brings us to the Center City Green parking garage, where she learned 6 people died by suicide in 4 years. She contacted the property manager and told him she wanted to help.
He said, well, we've only had a couple. I said, one is one too many. And I told him, I said, I'm an advocate, I'm a survivor, I want to change that.
She worked with the garage to post signs that look like this near stairways and elevators. The signs all have the same message: you're not alone, with phone numbers for people in crisis to call and text.
When you're struggling, you feel like you're by yourself. You're like, man, I'm by myself in this. No one understands. No one cares. But when you see you're not alone, it is such a powerful 3 words, because all of a sudden that goes off, I'm not alone. I'm not. And I just love that saying, you're not alone.
At first, the signs were small, and unless you took the elevator or stairs, odds are you missed them. But that has since changed. In 2020, a 17-year-old drove her car to the top floor of the parking deck, took off her shoes, and placed her phone and glasses on the ground. She jumped off the ledge. When Fonda found out, she knew the signs had to be bigger and more visible. One now sits where the 17-year-old took her life.
It would have startled her to a certain degree, but I think she'd have said, wait a minute. Somebody knows exactly how I feel in this moment. And I truly believe with being a teenager, she probably would have texted 741, text help, 741-741.
In a lot of ways, the sign is in her honor.
Mm-hmm.
It's been more than 2 years since that happened. There have been no deaths by suicide at this garage.
We had no suicides, and I was just like, thank you. I just said thank you, because I was thanking God, and, because He's the one who's really given me the strength to do this.
Because of Fonda, dozens, if not hundreds of signs can be found in parking decks like this one throughout Charlotte. And now there's a new effort to bring this prevention strategy statewide. A bill in the State House would set aside $500,000 for parking deck operators and local governments to install suicide prevention signs. They would be placed in garages that are at least 3 stories on each floor, in the elevator lobby, and stairwells. State lawmakers are calling the bill the Fonda Bryant Suicide Prevention Signage Act.
I had this bill named after me. It's kind of going to be my legacy, that when I'm gone, long after I'm gone, what I did to stop suicides in parking decks will be saving lives long after I'm gone, and that is the best feeling in the world. If we save one person's life, it's worth it.
One person seeing the light, seeing the sign, seeing the words.
You're not alone.
Seeing as easily as words can hurt, they can heal. It's the people that make Pedro Saldana excited to go to work every day.
To me, come to work every day is like a game, something fun.
People like George and Patsy Billabo.
It is delicious, and we come at least once every week.
And Leslie Kepley.
It's a mango sangria.
Don't get Kepley wrong. She loves the food at Los Jacubes in Rockwell, but a mango sangria isn't exactly her drink of choice.
Oh, I'm an on-the-rocks, no salt girl.
It's customers like her who led Saldana and the staff at Los Jacubes to go to the town of Rockwell and ask for a referendum, a ballot measure to legalize liquor by the drink.
It's not a good Mexican food with no margaritas. So it was a pretty good motivation for me to, keep working on it.
Saldana says the drinks would go a long way in helping the restaurant recover profits lost during COVID. He and his team worked hard, putting up signs, posting to Facebook, and telling customers to vote.
Well, they encouraged me because they knew I kept asking for margaritas and they couldn't serve me.
It paid off. The ballot measure passed with 69% support.
It's very conservative around here, but we do like our margaritas with our Mexican food.
The Billabos are excited for the restaurant, but for now won't be changing their drinking habits.
And now it's a new generation, and And people like a cocktail with their dinner.
My brother still stick to my wine.